Welcome to Raw Radio.
And we alive.
Are you sure? Are we alive?
Well,
We might be recording, but I don't know if we're alive.
that's always questionable. Hey, how is your car, by the way?
My car is fine. My glasses, on the other hand, are in the garbage can.
Talk about struggle.
Yeah. But you know what? Hey,
Is anything going well for you?
not the podcast. Yeah, lots of things are going well for me all the time. And I try and keep that in perspective. I broke my glasses, big deal. I can get a new pair. My car was in the shop, big deal. It's going to get fixed. I mean, luckily it was under warranty and all that fun stuff. And you freak out about that stuff for a little bit, but put it in perspective. I got some friends that aren't doing well physically. I've got some friends that aren't doing well mentally, financially. So hey, I'm doing okay. But thanks for asking.
Yeah, well, listen, that's why I'm here, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's why do I feel I'm being attacked today?
I don't know.
Very hostile working environment around here.
Well, I learned it from you. It's your environment. I'm just living in it.
Lord, is it just me or you guys hear this too? This is ridiculous.
Yeah. If they know you, they understand. They understand.
So, what are we talking about?
We just had the wonderful Ricardo Liborio on. I always say, if you don't know who he is, check him out. But man, if you don't know who he is, I don't know where you've been. He started a couple of the greatest MMA teams in history, and is one of the biggest influences on MMA in general, and BJJ.
Hey,
And,
stop swinging because we're losing you
my head's not moving. My body is. I can't help it.
So your head is
Getting into
not
my
part of
pants.
your body?
It swivels. Look, the chair goes one way, my head stays in the exact same spot.
All right, I'm officially declaring this episode as complete failure. Okay?
Oh, please. Oh, please.
All
It's
right.
fantastic. People love this stuff.
But I think what's was intriguing about his story particularly was that obviously he's known for his MMA coaching and his Jiu Jitsu coaching, but not a lot of people actually do realize that he is involved behind the scenes quite a bit through various different channels. And his goal is not necessarily to, teaching Jiu Jitsu is just part of it.
Right.
But actually coaching or building an association and building teams, building the staff and instructors, it's a big part of this, part of his mission.
Mm-hmm.
And he has established handful of different organizations that really set others for success.
Yes.
in that direction. And big part of our conversation was focused on what to do to establish a good organization from jiu-jitsu perspective, from academy perspective, but also just general organization, how to create structure, how to create processes, and so on. What was your view on this? Because up to recently, right? I mean, your profession was very different. Once you got involved at the academy, things changed, and now you see a lot of behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious what your perspective is on the things that Ricardo talked about versus your experience.
Well, I think that, so I've worked for larger corporations and I've worked for small family-owned businesses. And I think having both of those perspectives, you realize how much goes into running something, whether it's 12 employees or 1,200 employees. And what he had to say about running specifically an academy, I think a lot of people don't realize, they throw some mats down, right? All you got to do is get enough people to help you pay the rent, and then you're done. But that's great for someplace that's probably not going to be around very long. I don't think that is any way to run a business. It's no way to sustain things for your family or your long-term goals. So I think what he talked about, having a point of purchase, having somebody who greets people properly when they walk through the door, having a curriculum, having a financial plan, all those things I knew were necessary to run a decent academy. But I don't think the average student realizes what goes into it. So it was great to have him express that. So hopefully they can be enlightened a little bit about it.
So we don't just throw the mats on the floor and hope for the best?
No, you turn the lights on, right? You put a sign out front, you throw the mats down, and then you wait for people to walk through, and they see how awesome. Yeah, they see how awesome you are, and then they sign up, and they never want to go anywhere else, and they're yours for life. And next thing you know, you're buying a nice big house, and that's how it works, right? Isn't that the way you live your life? What's funny is it made me think about that saying, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. I was like, oh, that's such bullshit. Yeah, because it's like, come in here and the floors are, we've got the raised Fuji floor, and we got the base floor in the building isn't great. So let's rip everything back up that we spent so much time on, level everything back out, put everything back down. We got 30 minutes before the kids come in for kids class, so you're busted. You are working. But I think because it's something that you do love doing, the reward is worth it. It's a greater reward. But yeah, having a business in this industry, it is work, and people need to see it.
What was the best part of the floor project?
You did it with me?
No, nobody noticed.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, that's important. Nobody should notice. It's those subtle improvements that, and what's funny is people do notice because they walk in and they're like, we have a logo on one wall, and we moved it to a different wall, or you did. I wasn't here that day. But people are like, it looks bigger in here. Why does it look? So they don't notice exactly what happened, but there's something about the environment that changed, and they appreciate it. For somebody to walk in and say, wow, it looks bigger. That's a good thing. That's a positive,
And I think this is, you touch on something really important. The minor details that make a huge difference, right? Sometimes the smallest detail could make an enormous impact, make it or break it impact on a client. And I think that's often underestimated, especially in facilities like Jiu-Jitsu academies where clean is important, right? We all come in, we sweat, there's physical contact. Like, there are some places who are cleaner than others. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. But sometimes those little things, like a garbage can being empty, makes a difference. The fact that little, corners are ripped off the wall, or it's nicely painted, or maybe frames, they are dusted versus covered in 3 inches of dust. All that makes a difference in the long run, and it's maybe not noticeable per se in the day-to-day operations, but when somebody comes in and visits, that chin-dropping effect is really important, and it goes beyond just visual appearance and goes, into the way how the guest is greeted, where they are greeted, where they are walking through, how they are approached, how they are spoke to, how things are being presented to them.
Yeah, if somebody walks into an academy and the person behind the desk looks up for a second and says, hey, how you doing? And then they look back down, and now this person that walked through the door has to walk over to the desk, right? They're going to feel like they're interrupting this person, where it should be the person looks up and it's like, hey, how you doing? They get up from behind the desk. If the layout could be whatever, but they get up, they approach the person, they shake hands, they introduce themselves. How can I help you? All that stuff. It's all, I don't know why people think that an academy needs to be different than any other business that they walk into. If I walked into a store to purchase, a laptop, and the customer service people just said, hey, how you doing? And left me standing there, I'd be like, I'm going to go get my laptop someplace else. So I think, all those things. And I don't understand why people think that an academy should be any different, that it should be run any differently than that.
Yeah, I don't know if I can answer why, but I think we can speculate that there are different goals between different academies. I think, and I think a lot of those decisions, how this process, how the visual is being generated, is based on what the goal is. What I mean by that, there are some very, very successful academies who produce very high skilled level competitors who do not care about walls being painted and the floor being clean and the mats being clean. Like that's not their priority. And who am I to judge? Who are we to judge? They produce high skill level competitors or students, right? Because that's what their goal is. So some of these priorities are shifted. However, I'm pretty confident if you want to have a successful kids program, and Ricardo talked about it extensively, you need to present this in a sense where it's fun for kids, but also the parents see the value.
Yeah, that was a big point.
That's a big point, right? It's you're not selling to the child, you're selling to the parent who does not attend the class. So this dynamic is very different. What's important to a child is not important to the parent in the same weight, if you will.
Yeah, and that's why all the aspects of the academy have to be, they all need the same respect, and they all need the same input and value, where the parent comes through the door and if there's 30 kids on the mat running around or, doing jujitsu, having a great time, but that, point of sale person, the person behind the desk isn't attentive, well, they're not going to sign their kid up, or if that person at the desk is great, but the class is chaos, they're not going to sign their kid up, maybe not, and I think they all carry the same weight, and you have to invest in all of them equally.
Yeah, I agree. And there's a lot of questions on social media and even generally just coming towards me, how do I pick a good academy? How do I know where's a good place to train, especially for somebody who is brand new to the sport or brand new to the hobby? And I always encourage, one, go see several different places, right? Create a comparison matrix where you can see what's good where somehow, to do research. And three, I think the most important part is ask questions. Ask a lot of questions. Because any staff member who is able to and willing to invest time into answering the questions, same thing with instructors, if they are willing to be very open and transparent, I think that place has some opportunities. There's, I think, a lot of, just like in any other business or service, there's it could be a lot of hidden things that don't appear right off the bat. Mm-hmm. And you just want to make sure that wherever you're going, it doesn't matter where it is, it's just that you find a good place. Yeah. The culture is what you're looking for, is their goals aligned with your goals, right? So somebody who wants to be a world champion is going to have a very different goal. Somebody who wants to lose weight, right? These are slightly different paths that could be taken by a student, right? So I think some of those important questions should be asked. And, once you understand what the process is within the academy, you can start understanding what the culture is, what their goals are, what the objectives are, how they treat their clients, students, and so on, how the classes are run. Is it chaotic? Is it structured? Which one do you prefer, right? There's a lot of dynamics and questions that could be asked and answered during that entire process, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, and based on those, you can start making selections. Which one you prefer? Which one would be more fitting to you? And
and definitely, I key on that culture thing just a little bit. Talk to some of the students when you're there. I know it's sometimes it's awkward. Maybe you're there because your confidence isn't that great, but step outside of your comfort zone. Talk to a few of the students. See what they're like, because if you talk to 4 people and 3 of them are really nice, he probably has a decent culture at that school. If 3 of the 4 are unapproachable, well, maybe, depending on what you're looking for, maybe that's not the place for you. Definitely talk to people.
And I think what's really important on that topic specifically is just because school is good does not mean that it will fit what you're looking for, and vice versa. Just because school aligns with what you're looking for does not make the academy good, right? So there's a lot of factors that really should be evaluated, and I think the biggest concern from the other side is that brand new students is walking in, they don't want to get hurt, they don't want to be,
talk about that a lot.
Yeah, they don't want to be, embarrassed, they don't want to be put in these vulnerable positions. They really want to have a good experience, and better job we do as staff, as instructors, as business owners, more exposure it will create to these individuals, and hopefully this will have an impact on their life, and hopefully they will continue that journey in some capacity, right?
Yeah. And if you know people that are going to different academies, ask them to talk to their professors too. I mean, you know, Jeff Serafin was the one who pointed me in this direction, and
Shout out to Jeff.
Jeff
by the
is
way.
the best. If you don't know Jeff, he's a great guy, and he taught me the Burt Reynolds, which is probably the most important thing in the world. But you know, he gave me the names of a couple places and told me about their culture. So he pointed me in the right direction. Unfortunately for you,
Wait a minute. It just occurred to me that Jeff is responsible for this nonsense, me hanging out with you every single day.
I've told you this before. Yes, it's 100%.
Jeff, I'm gonna have to talk to you, Jeff. This
Right.
was,
Or it's his student Craig Fass's fault because Craig asked Jeff for me. So, and there's somebody else too, if you want to get involved with that person too, if you want to get upset at two people. But Pete the Greek also pointed me in this direction.
Oh yes, I love Pete. Pete is a great guy.
So
Race like the world.
that's right. Every Wednesday. But they said, hey, these are the places in the area. This place is like ABC. That place is like, you know, XYZ. And I checked them out, and this was the right spot, you know. So go places, don't sign up at the first place. You know, you're not going to buy the first car you drive. Don't make a yearly commitment to the first place you walk through without asking those questions, like you said, and talking to people and figuring out if this is the place for you.
Right, and I think you touched on something important. Jiu-Jitsu is a time investment, and
Yeah.
obviously monetary investment for most of us, right? So finding a good place where you can spend significant amount of time, you know, is important. You don't want to be a place where you don't appreciate and they don't appreciate you. You don't want to be a place that's, you know, it's not the dynamic that you wish it would be, because it just won't work out. And there's plenty of examples.
There's a lot of people right now paying a couple $100 a month at academies all over the world that don't go to classes because it's not the right spot for them. And they stay home, and that deduction comes out of their bank account every month. And it stinks, but they don't really care that much because it's worth staying home. Does that, you know what I'm saying?
So whose fault is it? That I don't even know if that's the right question to ask, but there's the dynamic of I don't like this academy for XYZ reasons.
Yeah.
You know, how should that be resolved? Is this the academy's fault now because the student doesn't fit, or is the student's responsibility to find a more fitting space?
I think that there's responsibilities on both parties, right? Like I said, you don't buy the first car that you drive. So if you didn't go in and ask those questions, if you only signed up because the guy's got a trophy, or he's got some gold medals on the wall, then it's some of it lies on you. If the people presenting the academy to you are full of shit, and you realize 2 months in that everything that they said when you signed up, or, you know, those days you were there, isn't true, well, then it's on the academy. That's why I say talk to the students, right? Because you're going to know. I think if you talk to, like I said, 4 students, and their personalities just aren't gelling with what yours is or what you think you want to be, you know, then it's not for you.
Yeah.
So go someplace else. There's nothing wrong with walking out. There's no commitment unless you sign something and give them your payment information.
Yeah, and now we're breaching into the area, and you know, the old school jiu-jitsu is, you know, you stay with the same team for a long time, and there's the betrayal, you know, quote unquote. That's separate conversation completely on all of this, but we can't forget the simple fact, and I'm going to piss off a lot of people out there right now, but we can't forget the simple fact that it is that you are paying for the service. I mean, that's as simple as that. It's not much different than you going to a Starbucks, or you going to a bike shop, or you going to a running club. If things don't work out, I encourage you to really reevaluate the situation. Is this the right investment for you? And finding a good chemistry or good academy with the right chemistry for you is important.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't fit, just I think, you know, being transparent and open about it is the key.
Yeah, and we just I don't remember if it was Liborio or not, but somebody said, there's the extracurriculars that come with an academy. If you're a competitor, where are they there with you on the weekends? Are they spending extra time with you? Well, then you owe them more than just a check every month. There's some loyalty involved there, right? They've put in extra for you. But if you're a hobbyist and things aren't working out, you're unhappy, there's nothing wrong with canceling and moving on.
Like I said, we just pissed off half of the world right now.
I don't think so. I think people understand that if they can get out of the way of their own preconceived notions, they'll be fine with it. There's nothing, like if somebody's being loyal to you, then you owe them that in return. But if all they're doing is cashing your check and they only know you because you come Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for an hour, they shouldn't be upset if you leave.
I think that's pretty fair.
All right, cool.
Should we wrap this up?
I don't know. I forgot to look at the clock when we started, so I don't know how long we've been doing it. So, but it seems like a good time. It seems like a good time. I'm going to go clean the academy. You got me thinking about dirty corners and dusty frames, and so I got to go.
That's a
sorry, Carrie.
Podcast.
I didn't know it was going to go this direction. It's the Jiu Jitsu lifestyle, right? Absolutely. If you want to live it, get yourself a mop and a bucket.
Off to the next one.
All right, peace.
Later.
Thank you for listening to Raw Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.